Welcome to Wheels and Deals Podcast, sponsored by North Georgia Toyota in beautiful Dalton, Georgia, the ultimate pit stop for all things automotive. Join your hosts, Daniel Groce and Benjamin Ward, guiding you through the exhilarating world of car buying, car facts, and car parts, all while throwing in a dash of insight into the life at a dealership. So buckle up, tune in, and let's hit the road to explore the thrilling journey of Wheels and Deals. Great. Now I lost track of what I was about to say.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. Co-host Daniel Groce, we're here back with again. This is episode number 2.
Yes, number 2. Yes, for our brand new podcast sponsored by North Georgia Toyota. Obviously, like I just said, my name is Benjamin Ward alongside with Daniel Groce. So last week we covered the owners of our amazing dealership, Greg Epps and Eddie Brooker.
Really cool stuff.
So this particular episode, we're going to focus on us.
A
little bit. Yeah, trying to getting to know each other because Daniel and I actually got to know each other about last month because I'm new to North Georgia Toyota with a little bit of everything. But it's different when you get to know each other in the office and also doing a podcast together.
That's
because
right.
Daniel and I are based. I wouldn't say we're going to be the new Greg and Eddie. That's Greg and Eddie are their own people.
Some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, big shoes to fill. But we're going to kind of like represent the generation that follows us on those sides of podcast, YouTubing world, and all that good stuff. So that's what Daniel and I are doing. So we thought with our new viewers and our new listeners that as before we move forward with so many more topics we're going to cover on the show, I thought, you guys got to know Greg and Eddie. Why not get to know us as your co-host and the faces of Test Drive Tuesday? So
I like it.
Yes, sir. So, Daniel, why don't you go ahead and start out here? Let them get to know you for a little bit.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So before we kick off to my backstory and how I got in the car business, as Ben mentioned, real quick, guys, go get subscribed to the North Georgia Instagram page, the North Georgia Toyota YouTube channel, where you can see us. We've got a face for radio, but you can go check us out on the video. Test Drive Tuesday, we just did the all-new Land Cruiser. So
yes.
If you guys, we're probably one of the first dealerships in this area to get one, the first edition. So just a ton of technology and interesting stuff on that vehicle. So go check it out, get subscribed, leave a comment, and like it because it helps us tremendously. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, so go check it out. And, so I have been in the car business since roughly 2016 going into 17. My background was, born and raised here locally, Dalton. Went to Dalton State College here. Got a business degree, just the 2-year, and immediately went to work for a freight company for several years. With outside of college, went in their management training program, and I was moved all over the place to Birmingham for a little while, Mississippi. Got married there in Mississippi with my wife Candace. And then moved back to West Atlanta and got some really good resume building stuff. I was on the freight dock at 22 years old, managing 50 grown men on heisters.
Wow. That's crazy.
We loaded freight for everywhere here in the East Coast, Southwest. It was huge. It was a giant corporation type environment, big corporate style. So it was really good to hone some leadership skills there because. These guys, they didn't know me from Adam, and I was 22 years old, and you're talking to a guy that's been on a forklift for 35 years, so to win those guys over was really tough, but it was a good environment. So that really helped me, and then I just knew that sales was ultimately pulling me to that direction. I love talking to people and, knowing whatever I'm selling, whether it's I've sold tractors, I've sold cars, sell stuff personally all the time, Facebook Marketplace, whatever. So I just love selling stuff and getting people products, information that they need, and just talking to people in general is really fun. So sales pulled me in that direction. So my first ever experience on a car lot was walking up to Schottenkirk in Canton. They were a CDJR store, and I had zero experience other than driving my Jeep when I was in high school. So went up there and immediately talked to their sales manager, Shane Smith. He's actually no longer there. But really good guy. I had like an hour-long conversation with him, and he said, "Hey, man, I know you don't have any sales experience, but I think you could sell a car. So let's get you in front of some people. Let's get some product knowledge, and let's see what happens." And I think in my second month, I was the top salesman. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I was fresh blood to an older sales team. Really had a lot of drive because I was like, wow, I get to do this for a living instead of working third shift on a freight dock. So
right, yeah.
It was like a vacation for me, kind of. So I was just used to go. The freight business is wide open. So when you hit the ground running on a car lot, and there's no that's what's cool about the sales world and what we do is there's no overhead for the sales guy. The dealership pays for all the inventory, an office, all the resources are there. It's just surprising how little salespeople actually take advantage of it. It's like a business inside of a business. So once that clicked with me, it was crazy. I mean, you try to up as many, and when we say up in the car business, that means getting a in-person customer that comes to the lot. We in the car business call that an up. So an up opportunity is a fresh opportunity that comes off the street. So I was trying to talk to as many people as possible because my business portfolio was zero at that time. So trying to make a name for myself, understand all of the new technology that Chrysler was coming out with at the time, making sure I knew what I was talking about. So that was the biggest hurdle. But I went there, and at that point I was pretty much doing the whole chase and pay plan thing as a sales guy. So I left there and went to Carl Black off Kennesaw, that Barrett Parkway. Mm-hmm. That was a huge culture shock because I went from, 10, 12 guy sales team to 30 guys on the sales floor.
Yeah,
so
wow.
It was really dog eat dog world. And that's something that we'll dive into later about North Georgia is in the car business in general, it's really, blood in the water type environment. It's an ocean full of sharks. So you either sink or swim, and a lot of places have super high turnover because, if you're not producing, then there's 10 other guys behind you that want that sales job. So, indifferent from here, like here, our management crew, the core culture here, they really want to grab a new sales guy and cultivate him into, a long-term employee with a relationship, and it's all about making sure they're successful. Where at other places, they could care less. If you're not selling your cars each month,
you're just another number.
You're just another number, literally. Yeah. So if you're not producing, that's it. See you later. So I've had chairs thrown at me in sales meetings. I've been cussed out. I've had every time you get a car deal or a potential car deal, they put it in a folder. They call that your deal jacket. I've had deal jackets thrown at me into the showroom, all the paperwork flying in front of customers. Have you? So coming here, this is such a special place. Good ownerships, good management team. Like I said, culture. I really knew I found a home here. So I left Carl Black, went to Robert Lower. I spent the next 2 to 3 years in Cartersville, again, another Dodge store. And that was probably one of the best pay plans at the time that I ever had. But again, the environment was so hostile. It just really wasn't a place long term. So I didn't see myself there being forever. Again, was a great experience looking back on it. Hindsight's 20/20 because you end up finding out how blessed you are at this place. Because if I never had those experiences, I wouldn't realize how good we do have it here. So
for sure.
It was cool. So I came here. I was actually an internet lead, which is funny enough. I put in my truck for a trade appraisal, and Jake Davis, the previous internet manager, called me. And he said, man, are you in the car business now? Because I told him, I said, hey, I'm not a lead, man. I know how it works. I've just seen what my truck was worth. I was driving a Toyota Tundra at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, hey, I'm looking for a BDC rep if you want to come here. He tried to explain it to me, and I was like, it's too good to be true, whatever. I came and did an interview with Greg and him and ended up coming on, and it was the best decision I ever made. So working here, getting my feet wet in sales, having that experience was huge. Now for you guys listening out there, I'm the online BDC manager. So if you call the store, put a lead in, you'll either get myself or Kaylee Hope. She works for me. We only have one rep and myself. So really, really cool environment. We help answer all the online leads, inbound phone calls, help Lauren. She's also the service BDC manager. So we're more on the online side of things, but it kind of gives us a lot of experience up there. Me on the sales side, Lauren on the service side, JD Music, he's here. I hope he'll be on the podcast at some point too. But just a really wealth of knowledge up there that we can immediately field customer inquiries, questions, whatever they need, and help them out. So that's a little bit of what I do. Sorry, that was a long spiel.
No, not at all. They got to get to know us a little bit.
Man, yeah. So that's me in a nutshell. I'll pass it over to Ben, and he can tell you how he got started.
All right. Well, how I got started. Well, it'll probably take up all the podcasts, but we got some ground to cover because we do want to make this in a way car related.
That's right.
But because we should talk about history of our driving cars.
Yeah.
Because our car history does tell our stories a little bit.
That's it.
So give you a little synopsis about me. As you can tell, Daniel's accent is very, very different from mine. So I am from the great suburbs of the Wheaton, Warrenville, Illinois area, like 30 miles outside of Chicago, Illinois. That is where I grew up, born and raised. How I ended up in Georgia is definitely a story within itself. but I could tell you just a little bit things here and there. Of course, what I'll be comfortable sharing here versus outside of the microphone and outside of the cameras, because we are also video personalities as well. So I grew up in Illinois, and I after 18 years, I graduated from Wheaton Warrenville South High School in 2009. Obviously, I within doing things at Wheaton Warrenville South, I took college courses through Technology Center DuPage, where I learned the ins and outs of television and movies, and also the great worlds of Photoshop and
that's cool.
All that good stuff. Yeah, so it was just fun things. And one of my best friends back at home, Michael Loinger, we grew up together, kind of like a relationship how Greg and Eddie are, but. But he's still in Illinois. We talk at least a minimum of once a month. Life happens and all that. But Michael and I would just make fun videos in our neighborhood and bring the neighborhood kids, and we'll make videos with them. And it is like stuff I just thoroughly enjoy doing with friends and just have some fun. So we did that alongside with our education in high school. And I thought I was going to do the same thing going on to college. I went to Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
So it just didn't turn out that way because I thought I could do other things with my creativity. I decided to switch from television. I also kind of wanted to be a pastor at some point too, but
cool.
But my passions kind of changed and my ideals kind of changed when I got out into the real world. And I thought maybe advertising might be something up my alley. So I switched from television or evangelism to media advertising when I was in college. So I did that for about 3 years. I did various jobs like within high school and college. I was a golf caddy for a little bit living in Illinois. And then when I got to Oklahoma, I was a golf caddy for about one season at the Southern Hills Golf Course. I'm pretty sure people who are familiar with the PGA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like Tiger Woods played at this particular course. I'm not sure if John Daly has. I'm pretty sure he has because, he's a well-known golfer.
It's pretty sweet.
But don't quote me on that. He probably did. But I know for a fact Tiger has played there before. But, I caddied for Richard Roberts that one time and one time only. But I ended up working at the golf course. But then I also worked in radio for 2.5 years. As a little bit of a radio producer. I was on the air for like 2 seconds, and that was it.
That's
but
cool.
It was a sports radio. It's called 97.1 FM, the Sports Animal. I did that for a little period of time as well while working out there, and I took a break from the radio industry and all that, and I interned at Walt Disney World.
Wow.
And I actually met my wife, who's actually from Dalton area, who is my wife, Lindsay. She's from around here. So we met each other outside in Disney at the Epcot where we both worked.
That's cool.
So that the rest is history about that. So
and funny enough, Lindsay went to the same high school as me. She's Christian Heritage alumni. She was a grade above me. So that's such a small world, dude.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's where we met. So that's kind of like the motivation of moving down to Georgia is we get into like after we fell in love in the Disney era, and I still stayed in touch with her. I graduated from Oklahoma and Oral Roberts. Don't get confused. It's in Oklahoma. it's a Christian university. That's where
cool.
I went to. So I got my degree after a bit. So I went back to Illinois, saved up some money, just worked jobs here and there to kind of get me through, and was such as retail and television sales or DirecTV. I did that for a little bit.
Oh, wow.
It did not last long. I ended up getting a job within the retail store I was working at selling television stuff. I just did not like the job.
So you weren't door-to-door salesman. You were in the store.
Yes, in the store.
I gotcha.
But for DirecTV.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work out. It's like I didn't think this is what life was, or how it was. I just didn't like bothering people when they shop. So I ended up getting at the job at Fry's Electronics. If you guys heard, it's like the Disneyland of electronic stores, and sadly they closed their doors down during the pandemic.
Okay,
so
kind of like a Radio Shack.
Yeah, it's like Radio Shack, but imagine it with a cafe and components and all that.
That's pretty cool.
It was actually a really cool store.
That is cool.
It was a real. They had 2 locations in Atlanta. It was mainly in California.
Okay.
There was one in Downers Grove, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. So I worked there for about 4 to 6 months before I moved down to Georgia.
Gotcha.
So when I officially moved down here, I It was in 2013. I worked in hospitality for a little bit, in like places like Marriott's, like Residence Inn and Fairfield Inn. I worked there for a little bit, and I moved on to Amazon because they paid more money.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been doing Amazon for roughly a year, and then I moved on to Mattress Firm. I did that for almost 4 years, really 3 years and some change. But I was a warehouse associate for a little bit there. Then I ended up becoming the assistant manager for a little bit at a Mattress Firm. And I just, wanted to get out of the industry. I ended up moving down back to Dalton. So a lot of this was in Chattanooga within 2013, 2018. Even though I lived in Georgia for a little bit, I also lived in Chattanooga for a little bit as well, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and moved back to Dalton, ended up working at Shaw Industries and doing manufacturing work for 5.5 years there. And then eventually this position opened up. And how I got this job, well, it'll be the topic we're going to move on to because Daniel and I are both YouTubers outside of North Georgia.
Shout out your channel real quick.
Well, my channel, you guys may know me. I guess this is going to ultimate reveal because I kind of kept my last name private for the longest time. But it's a small world. People kind of figure out who you are and all that. So I am Mr. Nomad Ben, a local YouTuber here in Dalton, Georgia, which I love just to basically be your friend. Like I go around places like historical areas or your local restaurants or coffee shops, or I travel mainly throughout Dalton or within the neighboring towns of it, or Chattanooga, Tennessee. That's my flagship content. And then whenever I have the money or I have the time, I do travel within the United States. So I visited like in my personal life outside of the YouTube and North Georgia Toyota, I have seen roughly about 36 states, and my goal is to be 50 by 50.
Oh, yeah.
So I have seen Hawaii, so one of those outside of the ocean kind of deal. So next is Alaska, but
that's cool.
I have seen majority of the United States. I have seen almost every state in the southern region. So I believe I've been to West Virginia or driven through it. I'm not really sure about that, but I think, but West Virginia is a Yankee state, so we don't really count that. But I have covered ground.
Says the guy from Illinois.
Yeah, from the Illinois. So he's kind of on our side of the war, But I have seen majority of the United States, and it's really cool. And I've covered ground on, I believe, under 20 states on my show. I could be wrong about that. I got to do the math on that. But
pretty cool.
I have seen majority of things from my channel on the south side of things. But like I said, a lot of it's covered within the Georgia, Tennessee, and Georgia area. I kind of stay close to home. And all that. But it's a small town and all that. And I know Greg Epps very well. And he had this position open, and he goes, I kept this position open for quite a while as the social media and community relations manager.
Yep.
But instead of saying all that, we'll just say I'm a marketing manager. We'll just say it that way. It's under my Outlook and all that. But I have two positions I do here. I do a lot of things with the social media, create content. I post things on your Facebook. I might tell you guys some interesting stories that like within the Toyota realm, or maybe some fun technologies or innovative things that I think our followers should check out.
Community outreach.
Community outreach. Yes, I'm getting people involved in the community and being out there, just letting people know, hey, North Georgia is here, and we're here for you. What we can possibly do to when it comes to for your baseball games or having our name out there, in your stadium or whatever we can do. Just even here, we're starting to bring back community fun in our dealership. And eventually we're gonna get some live music back and all that, because we're now that the pandemic in our eyes is basically dying out, and we want to get back into being more involved with the people, and we're gonna bring some more fun things to our dealership as I am the new manager here. So
that's cool.
It's I'm slowly getting to the process of doing these things, but I'm having fun doing it. And North Georgia Toyota has just been a fun experience, and being with people like Daniel and JD, who's, I call him my partner, my mentor, because he does the number side of things of marketing.
Oh yeah.
Me, I do the content creating, but JD's kind of the eyes and ears of what we should do and what we can't do, or before we get in trouble. But JD's kind of like that guy, so he's really been a great start for my process here. I'm having a lot of fun. Like I said, Daniel's been great to work with, and my new friend too. So it's been great. So and getting to know the salespeople, it's really awesome. And working with Greg and Eddie has been an honor. Oh yeah, it is an honor. Not Ben. I'm still gonna be here for a very, very, very long time. That's right. I don't plan on going anywhere. I'm hoping that this is my last job, actually.
That's cool. Yeah,
so it's an honor to work with you, Daniel, and everybody here. So
that means a lot, dude. Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with everything you said. It is nice. It's refreshing because coming out of COVID, our marketing team, well, the guy that was here before, Juan, he did a good job, but his, going into COVID, dude, like the marketing died, our budget, because back then there wasn't a whole lot to market because our inventory from Toyota was so staggered, and we were selling so much volume of stuff that wasn't even here yet. So to give you guys a peek behind the curtain, then the peak of COVID coming out of 2020, 21, 22, we were having record-breaking months for sales team. But say we would get 25 Camrys allocated, they would have ETAs spread out between 10 and 45 days, roughly. So we would know exactly what they were, window stickers, pricing, options. So customers would call in and say, hey, I'm looking for an SE Camry in white. Do you guys have it? Sure, I've got one 35 days out. Would you like to make a deposit? Yeah, $500 deposit. We would mark it sold. That Camry would never physically hit the lot except to come in, get inspected, fueled up, detailed, and leave. So 9 times out of 10, our inventory would never physically be here. It would be sold weeks in advance. And that was not just Toyota. I think Toyota did a better job of it than the other OEMs, but Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Chrysler, whatever, XYZ company, that's how vehicles were sold the last 3 or 4 years. Right. Whereas when I got into the business, we had $4 million of inventory on the ground at any time. And it was almost like what we call in the car business a race to the bottom. It was, XYZ dealership and Toyota has the same Corolla. Who's going to sell it the cheapest? It wasn't per se an inventory problem. It was people discounting vehicles beyond what reasonably made sense. And that was the car business the last, I would say, 10 years at least. So I think it's kind of a good mix of inventory now as we've come out of it. But yeah, like going back to the marketing thing is we didn't have to spend the money on marketing as we used to, and now it's kind of flipping to now we're having to advertise a little bit more. Now we're having to reach people more, let them know who we are, why you should buy at North Georgia Toyota versus XYZ Toyota dealership. So not to give any of the other those stores airtime because I don't think we need to, but we're centrally located here, Northwest Georgia. We compete with dealerships from South Atlanta, north of us, just over the line in Chattanooga, Cleveland, wherever. And we do business with everybody. So we want you to buy Toyota here because you like dealing with us. And I think people find the value in that more than anything else. But yeah, shout out my little channels here. I've got Mojo Buck Productions on my YouTube, Mojo Buck 80 on my Instagram. We've got 15,000 followers on Instagram. Get climbing to 5,000K on the subs on the YouTube side of it. But more of my niche is hunting outdoors, that type of thing.
Complete opposite from mine.
Yeah, complete opposite from Ben. So when I travel, it's mostly for out-of-state hunting opportunities. But if you guys like that, go check it out. If you like the traveling, the more culture, that type of it, go check out Ben's stuff. But yeah, so getting back to Toyota, what was our next? We kind of gave ourselves an introduction.
Yeah. No, I thought we'd talk about things that we like to do.
Yeah.
Let's talk about let's incorporate Toyota with that.
I like it.
So I think we should talk about our car history and what we've driven before, and then leads to what we enjoy doing.
100%.
And so with my stuff, so I do a lot of local travel and stuff, and I'm driving my wife's RAV4 right now.
All right, RAV4.
Yes, and it's a really awesome car. Really enjoying her car for the time being, and I'm hoping that when the time is right, I'll be able to get my other car because I actually had to say goodbye to my Nissan Altima recently.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was time to go, and this is why it's so important, my friends. If you buy a car from us, make sure you take advantage of Toyota Care.
Oh yeah.
This is before I became management here and all that, but I did not take. I was not just an employee, but I was a mere customer. I did not take advantage of the Toyota Care.
Oh man.
I should have taken advantage of it.
So what is so for people out there that aren't familiar, tell them are you familiar with Toyota Care and what it involves? Yeah, go ahead and tell them what that is.
So we'll take care of everything from your tire rotations. and your oil filters and everything that it entitles to.
Up to 25,000 miles.
Up to 25,000 miles, or is it 2 years? Or
it's 2 years, 25,000 miles. Yes. Become first. It's your first. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 tire rotations and 2 oil changes.
Right.
Yeah.
So it goes up to something like that. If we are inaccurate about it, we will leave a link in the description.
Yeah, this is all disclaimer. So
yes, we got a list of like what Toyota Care can do for you, and I'll definitely put it in the description in our Spotify and our YouTube channel.
It's crazy that people have it, but they don't take advantage of it.
Right, and they should, because they at least have some insight. Because I love to support local business.
Yeah.
And I was supporting a local. We made it nameless because again, local business people put their lives on the line.
That's it.
But I'm not going to say particular names or the name of the business. But these people are very, very nice. They're very, very family friendly. But they could have at least told me that my fluid and my transmission was running low,
man, that
and all
sucks.
that. And my father's a huge car nut. And he loves to repair cars and all that. So he thought he could take it upon himself to at least try to fix the car for me himself.
Yeah. And this is the Nissan.
Yes, my Nissan.
Okay.
And there was no transmission fluid at all whatsoever.
Wow.
And so I bet if I took it perhaps if I did take it to Toyota Care, I've gotten the care I needed to have. So,
or at least a recommendation.
Right. Yeah. So it's a recommendation of what I could do next, or put money in start, like, because your car probably has this much life left in it. Start saving up for a new car now, or at least a down payment for one.
Yeah.
But it's just telling you the importance of Toyota Care. So please, if you guys purchase from us, come back to us, and we will take care of you. So
and something cool here that Eddie has been kind of honing in the sales team is doing a service walk. So when you guys buy, if you bought a boat or a 4-wheeler or something else out there, you're going to want to know, okay, when the excitement's over and I'm into my first oil change or whatever service is, where am I going to go? Who am I going to speak with? And the cool part about here is you can walk right from the showroom down our short little hallway. We got a really nice customer lounge, coffee bar, sometimes snacks and waters that are provided. You can walk right into the service manager's office, Ed Hairston, and you can shake hands and talk to him. A lot of dealerships are not that easy to find as far as the management team. So we've got a really nice service center, very knowledgeable service riders and staff. The middle manager there is Brian Carr. They will do whatever they have to take care of you. So very reachable. You can walk back there, and like I said, you can shake hands with the service manager whenever you want. Get a hold of him whenever you want. I think there's huge value in that. Yeah,
humongous value. Take advantage of wherever you buy your car. Definitely want to look into the service. But you're here at North Georgia Toyota, look into Toyota Care.
Yep.
Talk to the service people, talk to your salesman, whatever it takes, just so that you can get the service that you deserve as our customer. And we want you to keep coming back.
So what do you think about your RAV so far?
It's a great car. It's 2021 RAV4.
Okay.
So it just gets you where you need to be. And I do have a 4-year-old, so it does help. It is, I think, it's for a very small family, under 2 kids, especially.
Sure.
I think it's a really good family car if you have a very small family. But if you plan on having more than 2 kids, look at something like a Sienna or a Sequoia or a Land Cruiser or something. The Grand Highlander. Just anything that could be fit more for your family and more bang for your buck to include more space in. So,
was that your first experience with Toyota? Was a RAV, or did you have something before that?
I did have a '95 Toyota Avalon before that too. So
that's cool.
Talk about car history of what I have. I guess I'm going backwards in my car history now. So because I went down to a RAV4, which that's my current car, and then my former Nissan Altima. We're going backwards. I did have a '95 Toyota Avalon for a period of time as well. Then before I got my Nissan Altima, I did buy it here. So
that's cool.
Again, I bought the car here. It doesn't matter what model car you have. You buy it in North Georgia Toyota, take care of the Toyota Care.
Yeah, new or used, we service them all.
Exactly. We'll do it. So I did not get the '95 Toyota Avalon here. I actually got it. I inherited it from my folks.
That's cool.
Way back, because I'm in my early 30s now, almost my mid 30s. But I had that car since I was basically a teenager up until when I was 21 or 22 or something like that.
Okay.
So it was because it was my mom and dad's car. And then they gave me the car before moving on with that. But while I was driving that. Back when I was in high school, like I said, we're going backwards with our car history. I also drove a Dodge Ram, I believe it was.
Ooh, big Dodge.
Oh my gosh, I loved that car.
Yeah.
I felt like felt like a man.
It's just pure American horsepower.
Pure, exactly.
The old Hemi.
It was a fun car to drive around. I had a blast driving that that Dodge, but just so I had a little bit of history of cars, and with my dad being a car junkie, like he had a Toyota Celica for a little while
that's
too.
Cool.
He restored it and
I
got the convertible going on that.
That's fancy.
Yeah, there's really fancy Toyota Celica, and we went from like a Subaru and a GMC, like Ford. Like we went through a lot of cars for fun for my dad. So that's a little bit of car history about me and all that. But my main cars I've driven from basically when I was allowed to drive up until current, up to Dodge, Toyota, Avalon, Nissan, and back to Toyota. And now I'm working at Toyota. It's only appropriate I drive a Toyota. Right. So that'll be my next one. And whenever we continue doing these podcasts, I will let you know when I have my own personal car. So
any particular model you got your eye on, or what you're leaning towards?
I really enjoyed the feel of the Camry because I loved my Nissan Altima. Yeah. And so I kind of felt really connected with it. Okay. So the Camry kind of has a similar feel to me. I would like to, when I have my free time, I'll drive, try out a Corolla or something more along the lines of that. The GR86, like, I just didn't feel like I just didn't feel connected to that car, but it was just like, I felt like I was too poor for that car or something like that.
Well, it's not a family car.
It's not a family car, but you need something along the lines where you could still have your family in and all that.
That's true.
Another RAV wouldn't be so bad, or a Camry would be kind of nice to have.
Dip your toes in the Tacoma world or something?
Maybe one of these days I'd like to have Tacoma or Tundra. It'll be great. So,
that's cool.
Who knows? But I'll definitely keep the viewers and listeners know when I have obtained the car. But I do travel on a little electric scooter locally too. But
he's a brave.
But it's just fun. Yeah. It's kind of a fun thing. But if I am driving right now, it's a RAV4. So
that's cool.
What about your car history, Daniel?
Yeah, man. So my first car ever was bought from a local firefighter here in Dalton. It was a 99 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, and I love that thing. We actually put two different engines in it. It slung a rod, and it was a hole in the engine block big enough I could stick my fist in through and grab pistons. So that thing got me to Mississippi and back, and then I ended up leasing. My first ever Toyota was a 16 model Toyota Tundra Crew Max. It was Barcelona red, two-wheel drive, had the 5.7 V8. And that powertrain through Toyota is kind of famously known for several different trucks going over 1 million miles. So really wasn't concerned about the longevity of it. But that was my first taste of my first ever car buying experience as far as financing a vehicle. And what was cool, and what is still cool about leasing through Toyota, and this is not a finance episode, well, we're going to do that later, but leasing a car through Toyota, you have so many open-ended options when you get to the end of it. In my opinion, still today, is if you're going to finance a vehicle, or if you're the customer that is financing a vehicle that can't just stroke a check for something or pay cash, more people should really consider leasing, because when you get to the end of a Toyota lease, you have so many options. You can keep it, refinance it, you can turn it in as long as you're within your mileage parameter. You can trade it. It's just like any other loan. Leasing is just, like I said, leasing is another way to finance a car, but people hear the word lease and they get freaked out about it. But for me, coming out of college with my dad co-signing, because I had no credit history, and having a paid-for Jeep that they gave me a couple $1,000 for because it was puking antifreeze in the parking lot, it was really cool to see. That's my first truck as well. So the Tundra was, so much horsepower. Just the naturally aspirated V8 engine was great. The biggest gripe on that truck, which was recently why they switched to a V6 in the new Tundra, was, 15 miles a gallon, for traveling from Mississippi and back was not very economical. But as far as hunting, from my background and what I do, a truck is huge. Having the storage, all the capability, four-wheel drive was nice. My next Toyota was a 16 in that same generation. So it was a silver Crew Max short bed, four-wheel drive. Had the XP package, so had all Rockstar rims, Nitto trail grapplers. It was a sweet truck. Again, I leased that one. I went over on my mileage, so that was interesting. Had to pay that out at the end. So if you do lease, stay within your mileage parameter. But then I leased out a 19 Toyota Tacoma, which is my current truck. And like I mentioned earlier, in the leasing through Toyota, I ended up buying mine out. So I bought it out. It's paid for. I'm going to probably drive it till, whatever happens to it. But I think a little bit of a leveling kit, some tires, and some wheels are coming down in the future for it. I think probably my son gets here in 4 weeks. Hudson, he'll be born in 4 weeks. So everything's on pause until that gets settled. So once we get in the groove with him, I'll probably, when I need some tires, I'll have the boys put on a lift kit back there in the shop. But yeah, I'm a huge proponent. Toyota trucks is it for me. I've had the full and the midsize. We've had experience recently on Test Drive Tuesday with the new Tacoma, which they've absolutely killed in the design process. It is a monster. It's such a good truck. The new Tundra, people were bashing it because they went from a V8 to a V6. Trust me, when you drive that truck, you won't even remember the V8. You won't remember why you didn't like it. So definitely test drive it. It would be my biggest 2 cents on that. But yeah, I'm a big truck guy through Toyota. I've had 3 of them. We're currently leasing a Grand Highlander for my wife and for Hudson. So a bigger SUV than what she had was a Ford. She had an Edge, and then she got an Explorer before that. But really happy to get out of the Ford market. Not that I'm not bashing it. Just our experience was. It's not. I mean, when you buy a Toyota, you don't worry about it. You use the free maintenance and you drive it. So that's the peace of mind. And that's something that I found out selling other brands is you really had to really pull somebody's arm to buy a Chrysler product. You really had to. As a salesman, you really had to sell that vehicle. The biggest thing a salesman has with Toyota is, number one, making sure we have it, making sure it has the right options, and getting that pricing correct and getting their financing set up. Other than that, you don't have to beg somebody to buy a Toyota. It literally sells itself, just because of the reliability and the maintenance and all that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a big truck guy. I love Toyota trucks. I think they're one of the best in the market as far as reliability, return on investment, and just the amount of worry-free maintenance and ownership you'll have. So they do a great job, man. They really do.
I think what we should do next, even though I made a video not long ago, it's like my starter video I did here on the BZ4X.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I got to tell you, like, we have it here on the courtesy lot right now, so none available to sell. But we already had somebody like interested in the car.
That's crazy.
Already, so
tell them what that vehicle is. I mean, they're like, oh, it's a bunch of numbers and letters. What is it?
Okay, so it is our new EV lineup, which Toyota is going to be focusing. Like the main focus of Toyota is going to be hybrids. Like everything's switching over to hybrid vehicles right now. So. But BZ4X, it's going to be an all 100%.
Yeah, it's electric. A full EV.
Yeah, full EV. And I know people have their opinions about it, and we're not going to get there. But that we're not really going to cause a divide in what people think. But but we would like to share our thoughts on it. At least I would. Have you tried out the BZ4X yet?
I have never sat in it. I've seen it. I was really familiar with it whenever it launched. But as far as hands-on driving it, I have not.
I would. We should definitely do a test drive Tuesday on it.
Since we have it here.
Yes,
sure.
It would be really cool just to have really say that we've done it, because I made a video on it to begin with, just kind of get my feet wet with how Toyota does things with their content creating.
That's cool.
All that. It was like a minute or minute and a half video on it, and so me with my personal experience on it, because I think it's kind of a fun vehicle.
It is cool.
It's a dangerously quiet vehicle, so
you don't realize you're going so fast.
So yeah, exactly. Like you don't even like it goes so fast. We were picking up speed.
That's wild.
And it's just like the engine is so quiet. It's like, oh my gosh. You don't even know that you're going from like 20 to like 40 to 50. Like it's like because your engine like lets you know, hey, you're picking up speed. But like this is like,
that's wild.
It's like
something else. A cool quirk about that car is the wheel is held on by one bolt, one big apparatus. It's not like a 6-lug wheel pattern like on a Tacoma. It's one actual attachment point. If you guys are familiar with NASCAR, they've gone to that too. So when they do a pit stop, it's one screw and then that wheel comes off. Same thing for the BZ4X. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a very interesting vehicle, but I think something like that, like I think it goes up to like 315 miles of a charge. I think
that's pretty decent.
I think it is.
That's like a full range on my Tacoma.
Yeah,
300 miles to a tank.
Yeah, for a tank of gas. I haven't tried out the battery life on it, like going from full charge to zero, because obviously I'm not going to drive. I would love to have Greg tell me go on a 300-mile road trip and see how it happens.
Test it out, yeah.
It would be kind of cool to do that, but I have other things I got to do. But
and if you guys have an oil change or an extended service or need Billy or or whoever to run to the mall or grab some lunch, you guys will get to ride in it as well. So
exactly.
cool.
Just let your service or salesman let one of us know that you want to ride it, and
that's it.
We'll definitely get you hooked up on it if it's available to drive.
It's pretty slick.
So it's a fun vehicle, honestly, and it's great for local driving, especially. We talk about like our content and what we like to do when it comes to like certain kind of vehicles that might be recommended to your lifestyle or what you like to do for fun. It doesn't have to be in the content creating world. It could just be like who you are as a person. But if you're definitely a local driver, you want to stay within like under 100-mile radius. Like if you're just like we into like these industries that Daniel and I talked about what we've been involved with. You get to know people. If you're people persons like us.
Oh yeah.
Like we talk to people, we get to know them and all that. I literally, when I worked at Mattress Firm, I met a customer that came to pick up their mattress set. They had not been to Chattanooga in decades.
Good Lord.
And I was like, and they live in Dalton.
That's wild.
And I'm like, you're telling me.
Were they older?
They're like, yet again, this was like 10 plus years ago,
okay.
but I could just say like, they were roughly in their like 40s, early 50s.
So not that old.
No, they're not that old at the time.
Very boring people.
Right. Exactly. But they told me like, because you look at their information, they're like, they're from Dalton. They're driving. It's a 30-mile drive from Dalton to Chattanooga, give or take. And, they're picking up on a truck, and you know what? So I'm looking at like where they're from and all that on their paper. I'm like, they're from Dalton. They're like, they're saying like, we haven't been to Chattanooga in this long. I'm like, so you're telling me that you've never been to Chattanooga in this many years? Like you live in Dalton. Like,
wow.
Yeah. What's the point of going all the way to Dalton? I'm like, okay, all the way to Chattanooga.
Yeah.
So
good
I'm like,
Lord.
Well, okay, well, whatever floats your boat. I mean, honestly, the Dalton's a great town, but I also want to see Chattanooga and Atlanta and all that. But if you guys are like homebody people, anyway, I'm just using the BZ4X. If you're like a homebody person,
it's perfect for you.
And you don't want to drive no farther than Chattanooga or maybe even Knoxville or like as far as Atlanta, you're just in the tri-state area basically. The BZ4X will be your car, or EV, or straight up an EV vehicle. I think would be perfect for you.
Oh yeah, if your whole commute from work to lunch to back to home every day is like 30 miles, then you would never buy a tank of gas ever again.
And just charge it up at your house or like I mentioned in our podcast a while back with Greg and Eddie, like even our little town of Dalton has gone along to give the option for people.
That's cool.
In the downtown area, especially by the distillery, by the old depot, and by the library, there's EV charging stations. And it may not be used. So like again, people have their thoughts and their opinions on it, and we're not going to get there in this podcast. But I mean, it gives the option for people to use it.
Yeah.
And even in Ringgold, Georgia, I would just happen to be up there over by the Jeffersons.
Oh.
Up there, the little restaurant that they got up there in downtown Ringgold.
Yeah.
Right behind it, there's like two or three charging stations right there.
It's pretty interesting.
And if you go into Myrtle Beach, at their Buc-ee's has like 16 charging ports.
That's cool.
So I mean, the change is coming, people. I mean, regardless if you like it or not, like the option for you to charge your car is slowly becoming available in your small towns and your gas stations.
And Toyota has seen the writing on the wall, and that's why you've seen them cash in on having multiple vehicles have a hybrid version.
Yes.
The Tundra. The Tacoma now is not released yet, but later this year, in maybe third, fourth quarter, we'll have a hybrid Tacoma with the iForce Max. The Camry, the new 25 Camry, is only sold in a hybrid. First time ever in the Camry history.
Yes.
Corolla has a hybrid. Of course, the Prius, I'm trying to think. Grand Highlander has a hybrid. Sequoia has a hybrid Max version. I mean, so pretty much everything. And what's cool about the hybrid, like if you're not familiar with it, is you don't have to plug it in like the EVs. It is based off regenerative braking. So every time you brake the car, it's fully self-contained, no maintenance. You can just drive the vehicle. And if you're around town, like Ben's talking about here, just a commute in downtown Dalton or wherever, you may never burn a gallon of gas. You may just run off the pure hybrid part. So there's a lot of benefits to it.
Exactly.
And if you're not sold on EV, look at hybrid.
Yeah, exactly. And like you could use the option for electric if you're going to be doing local driving, and then if you're hitting that interstate, man, especially if you're doing some holiday road driving, you're definitely going to use the gas.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you don't want to use.
If you're going to the I think it turns off at like 35 or 40 miles an hour. I don't have that spec in front of me, guys, but I want to say it's like between 30 and 40 miles an hour. It cuts off and goes to the gasoline component.
Oh, so good. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely. I would just want to shout out to the BZ4X. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a vehicle. I haven't seen a whole lot of videos on it, so we need to get it on Test Drive Tuesday.
We're going to do one. Maybe we're going to reshoot our Camry video after this week we're posting the Land Cruiser this week, and then we're going to reshoot the 2025 Camry, and we'll do BZ4X right after that one. So probably the next couple of weeks we'll do the BZ4X.
Let's see, we are going on 45 minutes.
Oh wow,
we're doing good.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Got about maybe 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll
left.
say that. Yeah,
that way we're not talking you guys' ear off. We're going to keep these pretty palatable
under an
sizes.
hour tops, so between 30 minutes to an hour.
And if you guys hear the podcast and you want us to cover any kind of topics, we're not just zeroed in on North Georgia Toyota. I mean, automotive industry related. Or maybe not. I mean, we'll cover all topics for you guys. So shoot us a message. Let us know you heard the show. Give us a rating. That stuff is free. So give us your feedback. We'd love to hear from you.
Right. So. Anything that maybe you wanted to cover, and maybe your thought process of what we're talking about.
If you had
here?
to pick, going off your script here, if you had to pick off the lot and any modifications you want to do to it, what is in your mind right now, if you could pick any vehicle, Toyota-wise, the perfect road trip vehicle, and what would it look like and features and that type of thing?
Okay. A lot of my adventures are solo. I do take my family along for some things, but
that's cool.
I think the RAV4 is pretty decent for what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty comfortable with my RAV4 taking the road trips. Because recently my wife and my son and I we did basically a whole cross country trip to visit my sister in Austin, Texas.
Wow.
And we stopped in New Orleans for a night.
Yeah,
that was fun. We went through Jackson, Mississippi, explored the extinct volcano for a second.
Wow.
And made our way to just all that good stuff. Of course, Alabama. Well, Alabama first. We stopped in Tuscaloosa, then New Orleans, then through Jackson.
Yeah.
Then on to Austin. We stayed in San Antonio for a little bit. So
San Antonio, that's cool.
The RAV4 was just an easy drive with it.
Yeah,
And
good size to park in city type environment.
Exactly, so. It was perfect for that. If you're just doing things by yourself, because my Nissan Altima is perfect for by myself when I do my solo trips on my YouTube channel. It was just me. If I had someone to come along with me, like one other person, especially in the front seat, and plenty of room in the back seats or the trunks. If we went on a cross country trip, I would have taken my Nissan to my cross country trip from Dalton to Metropolis, Illinois, and back. I was with my friend Chad Guthrie, the Dream Poet, another YouTuber buddy of mine.
Oh, cool.
I forgot what kind of car he drove. I think he drove like a Honda Element or something along the
something small. Yeah,
something small, perfect for him because he's single.
Okay.
He's married, no kids. So, but we did a collaboration. But we didn't drive my Nissan on that one. We took my wife's RAV4 on that one. But
that's cool.
But still, people like if you're doing your own solo trips. I mean, you really don't need anything too extravagant.
That's right.
Unless you are an off-roader, then I highly recommend like a 4Runner. Or like a Tacoma or Tundra. Just something that's going to get you off the wheels and get onto the road. But I don't really do that kind of adventures. I'm pretty sure Daniel will definitely tell you about that kind of stuff when he talks about what kind of vehicle he would recommend on his travels and all that. But I highly recommend if you have a small family, stick with the RAV4s or maybe like a bigger, slightly bigger vehicles. But if you're by yourself, you don't need anything too big or anything like that. Just perfect for you. So
that's cool.
Unless you like to do labor work, you like to mow grass or all that good stuff, you like to hunt like Daniel, then you definitely need a pickup truck or along the lines of that. So or doing some off-roading and do some mudding or something like that.
That's dope.
Daniel, what about you?
Dude, so my dream truck right now, well, I would go with the truck. I mean, obviously, I'm partial to them. Toyota makes a good truck platform. I would probably go with the new fourth gen Tacoma, so the current, the 24 and up. I would go with a trim that we haven't seen just yet. I'm excited about it, but the Trail Hunter, all new for 24. It comes standard with, I want to say it's either a 1.5 or a 2-inch little bit of a leveling kit from the factory. It's actually TRD branded, so it's full warranty covered, which is really important for guys that are buying a new truck and they're going to modify it anyway. It has a factory Old Man Emu suspension, which is a very famously well-known suspension company with reservoir shock. So from the factory, it's extremely capable off-road. Obviously, having the Trail Hunter name, you would expect that. It has a ton of off-road features, crawl control, front and rear locker, stabilizing bar disconnect, all from the cabin. So for what I do, I would love to go back to a full-size with a Tundra, but for hunting public land and on these public land trails, you never do really know how well maintained they are and how big they are. So for a full-size truck, I don't want to be scraping door handles and mirrors going through these trails. I would rather have a Tacoma-sized vehicle. Going with the Trail Hunter, again, it comes with a headache rack-style cargo system in the bed. I would probably replace that with some type of a softer, hard, bed cover so I could sleep back there. The biggest thing that I do when I'm out of state hunting is saving money on a hotel room is being able to sleep in the bed. So having that 5-foot bed, or actually a long bed, would be more preferable. The longer drive line, but also having the room to stretch out back there. Plenty of additional utility space for guns, ammo, whatever. You know, even if you don't like to hunt, maybe you like to fish. You know, strapping poles up on the roof rack, or maybe you like to kayak or go skiing or snowboard. Whatever your flavor of outdoor activity, the Trail Hunter would probably be my first pick to get out there and as Toyota says, let's go places. I mean, you can actually go places there. So it's really cool to see that stuff coming out of the factory that guys would do anyway. Something that I've noticed in my own research, the new Tacoma can clear almost 33 or 35-inch tires without much modification. So just having that ability to put bigger rubber on, bigger sidewall is, I'm not much of an off-roading rock climbing dude, off-road like Moab or some of these famous off-road trails. That's not really my cup of tea, but for guys that do that, you have the ability to put high-lift jacks on, winches, auxiliary lighting. It just goes on, and that comes from the factory. So Toyota really listens to their customers and what they've seen. Because the Tacoma that's been out, the one that I drive, it's a third gen. It's been out since 2016. So just about as long as I've been in the car business, there's been thousands, hundreds of, maybe millions by now sold. So they've got all that customer feedback of what they needs to be on the truck anyway. So Toyota listens to you guys. So the feedback you give them, they do listen.
Right. I mean,
it's
cool. Like trying to. I don't know if there's anything else we want to talk about here. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up as we talk. So
Yeah.
I just think like like Daniel said, like the Toyota has really listened to its customers and its customer base, and there's a car for everybody.
There is.
Like every kind of lifestyle and what you enjoy doing is like if you got to know me and Daniel, what we enjoy doing. You got two opposite dudes here that just like enjoy. One guy likes to enjoy the city life and enjoy his maybe like a slight nature trail here and there, but just enjoys nerdy things of like along his history and all that. Then you got him that likes to do hunting, likes to get out and really get out in the nature, be in tune with man and beast.
Yeah.
Like you got two opposite guys there, but we have but what makes us in common is Toyota is perfect for both of us and what we enjoy doing.
Fits everybody.
So it's just a great thing.
I've got an inspirational quote to close us out, if that's cool.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Daniel.
So let's see. So this is from one of, selfishly, I like the sales side of it. So good sales trainers that inspire people to do better every day. To be a sales guy in the automotive industry, whether you're here in North Georgia or anywhere else, you have to have that fire inside that drives you to be better every day. If you don't, the stagnant sales guy doesn't be a sales guy very long. You'll go extinct. So Andy Elliott, if you guys haven't, look him up. He's super famous, really good inspirational quotes. He says, what you are doing right now will determine what your life looks like next year. So don't wait for something to happen. Don't wait for somebody to push you off out of the rocking chair, your stagnant self. Get up, be active, improve yourself today little by little. You don't have to do it all in one day. We used to say in the freight business, continuous measurable improvement. So as long as you're 1% better than you were yesterday, give yourself 100 days and you'll be 100% better than you were. So
I couldn't agree with you more. Just as my personal experience too, just keep living your life and do it well.
Yep.
And you've got one life to live and live it well.
That's it.
And just do it. Just be yourself and be true to yourself and be kind to others, be courteous to others. That's probably the best advice I could give to you guys.
I like it. And we always talked about having a podcast, and now we're doing it.
And we're doing it now.
You got to get out and do it.
It's going to be great, man. We got more topics to cover.
Yeah.
This is just the stepping stone of great things happening in Toyota.
And where all can they find us now? Have you gotten the iTunes plugged in yet?
I still got to get iTunes plugged in. I'm taking my time with that, but we are eventually going to be reaching out to other platforms such as iTunes and other things as well.
We're on Spotify.
Yeah, we are on Spotify, and you can also catch this on our YouTube channel as well, just pure audio.
That's cool.
Just plug it in and let it play as you drive, so you can catch us here on the YouTube channel. Again, like, where you can find us, like Daniel mentioned earlier in the podcast, like, we're starting to post more things on our Instagram. Nothing has been posted on it in years, but when I posted something recently on it, and Instagram's coming back to me, was saying we're having better feed on that. So
that's sweet.
Exactly. So follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, and follow us on Spotify for these podcasts. And I'm slowly going to start doing things on Twitter here and there. We're now called X. So plenty of other places to reach to see us on our platform, but our main flagship flagship socials for the time being, definitely find us on Facebook, YouTube, and slowly Instagram. So those are
that's cool.
Stuff. So follow us there, and more to come for you guys.
Podcast Weekly. Catch us, guys. Let us know you heard the show. We love the feedback. That's why we do this.
Leave comments. Let us know what we can do better in, or like Toyotas, we want to listen to you.
That's right. We got a lot more coming, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See ya.